Welcome to the listeners to the NCR podcast.
All right, let's start the podcast.
Yeah,
This is the NCR podcast.
it is.
This is the official handover podcast.
It is.
Nate used to be the host.
Yep.
And now
You're the host.
I guess I'll be the host.
Yeah.
Hopefully sometimes PT can be the host and
Yeah.
Reza can be the host. They're not going to be here today, but I've taken charge on at least learning how to put all the electrical work together.
Yeah, that's
All the-
electrical. Yeah, that's one way to put it.
The hardware,
Yeah.
I guess. And so today I'm going to interview you.
Yeah, I guess that's become semi-interesting. You know?
Exactly. So, for those who don't know, a little brief history of Nate at NCR. Why don't we go back? Well, Nate used to be our head of media at NCR, and now Nate's evolved into a media guru, and he's traveling the world. He's videotaping some of the best CrossFitters on the planet. Right, so that's what we're gonna get to, but we want to dig into that a little bit more. How did you meet PT? Because you guys met on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Because like I met you here,
Yeah.
but through PT.
Yeah.
But you guys had met at like a level one that
the
PT
first time we
did.
met was actually on the East Coast too, when you came out and did a seminar. Remember right before I came here, I think. But anyway, yeah, PT. It's a good question. PT, like most people, I saw him through the games when he went in 2014. That's kind of like how I found out who he was. And I think it was the year he came off the games or the year after, so either 2015 or 2016. Ree and I had come here one Christmas because I'm from Ottawa. I was living in Halifax, but we had come back for Christmas, and we just came in and did a workout. It was my first time ever coming to NCR. So we dropped in on a class, and PT was here, and after the class, I just, like, sat there and chatted him up, and we ended up chatting for, like, 30 minutes, just about, like, everything, about, like, his competition stuff, about, like, my gym in Halifax, whatever. And yeah, and so basically we had that initial interaction. I think probably, like, 6 months to a year went by, and I saw that he was doing a seminar at my gym in Halifax. We had just started hosting them, and so I just sent him, I think, a message I DM'd him, but I think this was like even a little bit prior to like when a lot of people were using Instagram a lot. So it was like Facebook Messenger, I think, was how I got a hold of him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey man, like, remember me? Like, I chatted your ear off for a little bit. Like, I know you're coming to my gym. Like, if you need anything, like, let me know. I got a key to the gym if you want to work out, whatever. And like, oddly enough, he hit me back and he was like, oh yeah, like, I'll probably be looking to get a workout in. First day he got there. I actually ended up going
an early morning workout.
I think it was, yeah. I don't think it was like anything crazy, like 6 a.m., but I think it was like 9 in the morning or something like that. The day before the seminar, him and Sarah were there, and I went and picked them up. I offered to come pick them up from their hotel in like my raggedy, like, old Mazda 3. Like, I had this like rice rocket of a car, and it scared them because Sarah was pregnant and it sounded like it was going to break. So I think he was like, what am I doing getting in a car with this random dude I don't know with my pregnant wife? But yeah, and then I drove him to the gym and we worked out. And then from there, it was just kind of that same like rinse and repeat cycle for the next year and a half. Like every time I would see a seminar coming, I would message him, ask if he was coming. There was probably 3 or 4 interactions that happened like that.
So you guys just basically kept in touch
A
little bit, just
yeah.
like here and there.
Yeah.
And then how did it come? Because I remember one day it was basically, I remember you walked into our gym. You had come to Ottawa, and you walked into our gym, and we were talking at the front desk about careers and stuff. Because you were coaching. You were a coach or a manager on the East Coast?
I guess at the
or
end,
a little bit of both.
At the end, my title was like evening manager or something.
Right.
There was a daytime
and you're from Ottawa, so at that point you were kind of like thinking about you wanted to move back to Ottawa, or thought maybe you wanted to? Or?
No, literally not at all.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I had always said, dude, like, after like a year or two of being in Halifax, I always said I never want to go back to Ottawa. I don't know what it was, like if it was like a weird like independence trip or something.
Yeah.
But I like never wanted to go back. I never wanted to come back to my home city.
Huh.
Yeah.
And because I remember having a conversation with you at the front desk where
Yeah.
you were talking about, and I don't know if you had talked, or you had put the bug in PT's ear, or he had put the bug in your ear about coming to NCR
Yeah.
to begin coaching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's one thing is like I had no interest in coming back to Ottawa at all, but I'm a very opportunity driven person. So like I don't really remember that interaction, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if I had told you guys
keep your doors
if
open.
I had told you guys I wanted to come back to Ottawa because I thought it might lead to something like that.
Right.
Sounds very much like something I would do.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, no, like I had zero interest before.
And then basically what happened was we had one of our coaches who had a lot of hours at the gym leave on a whim. And then I think we approached you and we're like, hey, you want to come coach at our gym?
Right.
I think that's essentially what happened.
Yeah, it was funny. Like I remember pretty vividly. I was in Halifax working. I think it was like November, and PT had just left. So I think kind of where the spark was lit too is like the last time he came out before that offer, I had been vlogging. So like in 2015 or 16, I discovered daily vlogging on YouTube. A guy named Casey Neistat, watched like every one of his videos back to back. Never made a video in my life. Picked up my iPhone and iMovie and started making videos of myself on the internet, like super horribly. And when he came, I was in the middle of daily vlogging. So I daily vlogged for like 110 days in a row.
So that's the other thing I was going to say was like you weren't only coaching, but you were doing online media, starting to get into the vlogging world a little bit.
Yeah, like nothing compared to like what I was doing for you guys or what I'm doing now. Like it was very like, so yeah, I worked 3 to 9 Monday to Friday at the gym, or 2 to 9 Monday to Friday at the gym. I was going to school full time as well at St. Mary's University, and then I was making a vlog every day.
Didn't you do a vlog every day for like 100 days or something?
Yeah, 110 days. Yeah,
oh, okay,
and I did 100 days of every other day before that, so it was 210 days basically of making vlogs in a row.
Just for your personal page.
Yeah, literally just, dude. Like I would wake up in the morning, and throughout the entire day, I would like document it, and then at night I would edit it. And like most of the time I would shoot the vlog basically from the time I woke up till 2 p.m. when I had to go to work, and then when I would come home at 9 p.m. I would edit it.
Was that kind of your first jump into the like vlogging world? That was the first time.
Yeah, dude. Like I had literally before that I had never picked up. I didn't even own a camera at that point. Like it was my iPhone, and the first few vlogs, it was all YouTube tutorials, like how to add audio, how to make a cut, how to.
And it was just this guy that you saw on YouTube doing a vlog that inspired you to make your own.
Yeah, like I had no idea what vlogging was until I didn't even watch YouTube until I found that, and then he had daily vlogged for like something insane, like 550 days.
Whoa.
And I watched the entire 550-day series, and then I watched it again, and then I was like, wow, this is amazing. I want to do this.
What was it about the vlog that made you want to make your own? Like, was it just the editing? Was it?
No, it was like, so it's a good question. Like in my first vlog, which is like extremely horrible, still on YouTube, but it's extremely horrible. But I basically talked about that, and it was like, for me, it was like a creative expression thing. So like I've always been really crap at anything artistic. So like growing up, I always would say I'm the least artistic person ever, because like I couldn't draw, I couldn't sing, I couldn't paint, I couldn't dance, I had no rhythm. Like I was really bad at everything artistic. But then I saw this, and I was kind of like, I've always felt like I had this like creativity inside me, but I had no way to express it.
You wanted to like unleash it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know how. But I saw this, and like through everything Casey was saying when he was describing it and in his path through video, I was like, maybe I could do this. Like maybe this would be something for me. And like I've always kind of enjoyed being like, I'm a pretty reserved dude outside of like video and stuff, but like when I'm on the camera, I love being like a big personality. And so I was like, yeah, I'm good.
That's really cool.
This. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's got to be one aspect of social media. That's got to be one bullet point in the positive side of social media.
Yeah.
Is like allowing people to express themselves where maybe before they weren't able to.
Yeah, dude. Like I talk about this all the time. Like I get now, obviously, and like I'm not going to jump forward, but like now with what I'm doing, where I am, like I get DMs all the time from like aspiring creators or like people who are like, I want to start making videos. Mainly it's like I want to start making videos at my gym, whatever, or like vlogging, and they're like, oh, but like what camera should I get, or like, oh, how do I learn to do? I'm like, just do it. Like
that's cool. Yeah.
That's the thing with the internet, is like you can literally just start. Like back in the day, it was like you had to go to film school, you had to buy $20,000 worth of gear, you had to have a production company put you on,
Yeah.
whereas like now it's like there's literally no reason why you can't make a
use
video.
your iPhone.
Yeah, like anybody can do
and
it
download an app to edit it
for free. Yeah,
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
use
like
YouTube to teach you.
yeah.
Like
it's like it's like painting.
yeah,
Like you could take some classes,
Yeah.
or you could just get some paint and an easel
yeah,
and a paintbrush and just
exactly.
slap some color on
Yeah.
that and go crazy.
Totally. And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know there's probably a place for like film school and stuff like that in old media, but now with like what I am in is new media, like everything going on the internet, like it's you don't really need it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can learn so much from that. You know, I'm not at this point, I'm not directing crews of 500 people. So like, there's not like that aspect, which maybe you would learn in like film school, but no, it's just experiential.
So you did your 110 days straight, and plus the other 100 every other day.
Yeah.
And what kind of stuff did you learn about vlogging that you liked and potentially disliked about it?
It's a good question. I would say like, I mean, what I learned was just like, I mean, I learned how to make videos, you know what I mean? And I developed a passion for doing it through that. The reason I stopped daily vlogging was because I had gotten to a point where I was like, I want to start taking this more seriously. And like, it sounds funny, but like, you can't, like when you're making a video every single day and that's your whole focus, especially with the schedule I had with being a full-time student and working full-time, like I had zero time to learn more. Like I was doing, like I was learning maybe like this much a day, you know what I mean? Whereas like if I had an extra hour, I could learn this much a day.
Yeah.
You know, like I could learn way more. And so it was just like I had learned that I had this passion and I wanted to get better. And then I stopped because I was like, I need to be able to put more time into this because like every second of my day was like, if I lose a second, I can't get this vlog out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anything with like a new software or learn how to use a new camera, anything like that. So I don't know. I would say I learned my passion. What was the second part of the question?
I said, did you find were there any aspects of vlogging every day that you disliked?
Yeah. I would say I realized it later on. I didn't really understand what it was that I was feeling when I stopped. It was mainly honestly because I wanted to take it more seriously and professionally. But, you know, again, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like the privacy thing is like weird. Like I'm a pretty open person. I always have been, obviously, but like to give you perspective, like I made over 200 videos in those 210 days, or sorry, over 150 videos in those 210 days. And all of those videos got maybe 10 views each.
Right.
So like nobody was watching them. Like nobody. My channel went to like 50 subscribers. Like nothing.
Like your sister's watching in the video.
Literally my sister and a couple friends. But like one thing I found that was weird, and like this is again something I'm realizing more now, but there was one interaction I had, and I guess one of those 10 people was someone I didn't know, who once came up to me in public and asked me a question about Ree, my girlfriend. She was sick in the day's previous vlog, and he just came up to me and introduced himself. He's like, hey, I've watched your videos. How's Ree feeling? And that was like the weirdest thing in my life, and I almost like was kind of like,
weird.
Right? And I was almost kind of like, and like now it happens a little bit more, obviously, but it's more about me because like we'll talk about this later, I guess, but like I don't put my personal life out as much anymore.
Right.
But back then it was like that was one thing, and that was right near the end too, and that was just a moment for me where I was like, whoa, like do I want this? And like you see it all the time. Like if you watch any big vloggers, like they talk about it all the time, how like people are always judging them, people are always like watching their life and critiquing, and like so that was probably the one thing that I was like,
well,
I don't know if I like this.
One thing about vlogging is, and even just social media in general, is you kind of put yourself out there in the same way that before all the social media happened. It's like celebrities being followed by the paparazzi.
Yeah.
In the sense that all of the media that they get put out is by the paparazzi and not necessarily what they want. What's nice about the vlog is that you have control over it, or that you have control over your own social media. But if you're not careful, and you're not aware, well, then it could become something that maybe you regret. Yeah, man. And it's funny because like that's such a good point, because like although you do have control, especially with daily vlogging, like it's tough to try to make an interesting video out of every day of your life. No matter how interesting your life is, it can be tough, right? Because like it's there's always going to be repetition, and there's always going to be things you think are boring.
So you're always looking for the next greatest thing. And like what starts to happen is like in your pursuit to put out content that's entertaining, you will do anything to get that piece of content. You know what I mean? Like, and you'll start doing things like you see someone fall down and you'll instantly put the camera on them and try to make something out of it, even though that person might be hurt and you should probably just be going to offer your hand.
Yeah.
And then on a bigger scale, you see things like the Logan Paul suicide forest thing. Like that's, I don't know if you know much about that, but like
I heard some.
that was like the beginning of 2018. He was a YouTuber who had gone from 0 to like 13 or 14 million subscribers in a year. He was blowing up, multi-millionaire, whatever. And he ended up going to Japan and recording inside a suicide forest and showing a dead body. And it was like this whole big blow up. And people were like, oh, you're an awful person. You're an awful person. It was a bad decision, but there's like a sickness associated with trying to like create content like that on that massive scale.
Because I feel this is, have you ever seen the movie? There's a movie I watched recently. It was called, oh man, I'm going to mess it up. Essentially, it followed the movie. It was a documentary. Mm-hmm. It follows 5 social media influencers.
Oh yeah, it was on Netflix, right?
I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I saw it on demand.
Yeah, okay.
I think I saw it on Rogers On Demand.
Okay.
But it follows them.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And one of the girls is from South Africa.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's a guy, he's like a memer.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Oh yeah, the fat Jewish.
No, it wasn't him.
Oh, wasn't?
I forget the name of
I think
him.
it's something different.
But anyway, regardless, it follows them, and one of the things, it talks about positives and negatives of social media. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that it talks about is how, because you associate basically your success on how many subscribers, how many likes you have, all these things, you become addicted to it like a drug.
Yeah.
Right? And this doesn't just go for the professionals in the field, the people that are making a living out of it. It goes for people just taking part in social media as like a personal thing. You get almost like a dopamine hit
sure.
when you get a like.
Yeah.
And you're not satisfied until you get more likes than the one before.
Yeah.
So you're constantly thinking in the back of your head about the next piece of content and how it's going to be better than the one before to get you 101 likes instead of 100. Or like you said, you started out with 10 views or whatever on your vlog. I remember my first Instagram post was like, I could probably go back. It's like 9 likes.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, sick, 9 likes.
Yeah.
And then you start posting more and more, and then you just, you expect more.
Yeah.
Because you expect your content to improve.
Yeah.
You expect to get more followers.
Yeah.
You're on it for longer, so naturally you just think that more people are going to see it. And it's like you said, it's almost like it's borderline like a sickness.
Yeah.
And so did you find that when you were doing that, you recognized it and you had to kind of check yourself?
No, I don't think it got to that point for me. Like, again, it was so small scale, right? Like, that's kind of the other side of this message is like, I did all that. I made all those videos and I was getting 10 views and it never grew and I did not care. Like, obviously I would have loved for it to grow for sure. And like, I did everything in my power to make that happen. But like, I never had any of those things because like, it just wasn't big enough. You know what I mean? I never felt the pressure. Like, I think what happens with a lot of the big stars when they make mistakes is, I'm speaking specifically social media stars, is like they feel the pressure to keep getting that next bigger and better thing. And from all the people that are watching, I had nobody watching, so I had no pressure. Like I could literally do whatever I wanted. And it was just, for me, I knew it was just a learning experience, really.
And also at that point, some of these other stars, it was called Public Figure. That's the name of the documentary.
Oh,
Public Figure.
Okay.
At some point too, they're making their living off of it.
Oh yeah.
So it's not only they don't feel the pressure just because of the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
They feel the pressure because they need to. Yeah. They need to make a living. They need to get the dollar. Yeah. Tomorrow. Right? Yeah. They need to cash that check and.
Yeah, man. Well, like that's like again, I don't know. You can pull me back if I'm jumping too far ahead, but like that's exactly where I've gotten to now because like this is my living now. Like this is my livelihood. This is how I make money. Is how I pay my bills. And it's all through basically everything I make goes on the internet, and most of the time it's YouTube. And so now looking at those metrics, it's very different. Like before, it's like I wanted to grow because I just wanted to grow. I thought it'd be cool to have all that thing. But now it's like the videos I make and post, like the views are correlated to, in my mind, like the success of what I'm doing. And so like if something is doing well, then there's going to be more of a likelihood that it continues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the client, or like, it's like
For sure.
for the most part, what I'm doing now is not personal stuff. It's for other people.
Right.
And so like, but I see those metrics, those views and all that as like
a way to continue making a living the way you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And like a little bit of, obviously like, views are a tough metric to describe like how good the work is, because like they click on it without seeing it. It's mainly more about like the thumbnail and title, but like the subscribers, for example, is a good is an okay metric to say how good your work is. If your subscribers aren't growing and you're putting out videos, then it's probably not the best work.
That's
like there's
and that's a better metric because you know that they're just going to continue to get videos from that same page.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you subscribe
They're
to a channel, you like it.
Right. They're committed to it.
Yeah, you've seen a video and you like it. Like if you just click on a video, like it might just, again, be because of the title and thumbnail, which is a whole nother thing. Like trying to get good at that. But like, yeah, it's mainly like subscriber growth. But anyway, so like to answer your question, like, yeah, it's definitely changed now into, like you said with them, like a metric by which you judge your livelihood and your ability to make money and stuff, for sure.
So let's jump to sort of the next thing that happened after, we hired you because we as a gym, we didn't really pay much attention to our social media.
Yeah.
We did a little bit. Like we did as much social media for our gym as we needed to just to communicate to our membership.
Yeah.
We threw up a few pictures.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, anyone would do just for their personal pages, Facebook, Instagram. But then we started to see in the CrossFit world at the very least, a lot of gyms were seeing success getting their brand out there by having a bigger social media following, making sure that their content was quality. And not just for communication, but for also like letting people know outside the gym what the program was.
Yeah, brand awareness too.
Brand awareness, things like that. So then we brought you on board. We're like, oh, sweet, Nate can coach, and Nate's pretty involved in social media. Let's bring him on board, see if he wants to be head of media. And so you kind of, created this plan. Why don't you describe like sort of what your vision was for the gym, switching from more of like a personal social media branding perspective versus a gym or a
like
business social media branding perspective. Like how does that change, and what did you have to start thinking about when you came into the gym and you were like, okay, I've got to do this for a company now?
So, I mean, definitely like that was part of the reason why I stopped daily vlogging, was because I got the offer from PT, probably a couple months before I finished. And then when we didn't make it happen in November, but then it came back again in February, and it was like, okay, we'll do it. And, I packed up and came, but just before that I had stopped because I realized that I'm like, okay, like this has got to step up now. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to be getting paid to do this for the first time. I'm going to be making content for a brand that's bigger than myself. More than 10 people are probably going to see it. And so, it was a initial little bit of just practice. So instead of making a video a day, I started making a video every like 3 to 4 days and putting a lot more time and effort into it, and like trying to make things that were exciting and people really.
That's like for the gym.
Well, no, I started just doing it myself. Like I was practicing.
You were practicing.
So like the last like 2 months I lived in Halifax, I stopped vlogging and just started practicing. Like throughout the open, I was in Halifax before I came here in April, and I recorded some workouts and just did little edits and like tried to work on that, because I had never shot anything professionally before or shot anything for a business or a gym. So I kind of started to find that a little bit. So that was like the first step, I guess, was just like practicing the content. But I mean, when I first stepped in here, the mindset, I mean, I was much more careful, with like what I said on camera and the stuff I filmed and put out, especially being where we are in the world right now, like just trying to be very aware of like content, because it went from like, if I make a mistake, someone's gonna be mad at me, to like, if I make a mistake, someone's gonna be mad at this thing that's much bigger than me. And I was like coming in to represent and put out content that was gonna represent this brand, which is a massive brand in our small niche of CrossFit, especially in Canada. Like everyone in Canada knows who NCR is, who does CrossFit. Like it's a very well-known brand. even before I came in and did any social media stuff. And I knew that. So, like, that was a big thing. So, yeah, I don't know. When I came in, like, initial plan was just kind of, like, to show that. Like, I knew that. A lot of people that I was around knew that. I think more on, like, the competitive side. Like, there was always the 1 or 2 competitors in every gym who was like, oh, yeah, NCR. Like,
Right.
but, like, the general public, not so much. You know what I mean? So, I was kind of just like, okay, how can we show what happens inside the gym to more than just people who watch the CrossFit games? To them too, but like to like a bit of a wider audience. And so it was the inception of the vlog and the podcast were the first 2 things, because those were 2 ideas where it's like we can show rawness and like actually what it's like, as opposed to just always having these like super polished, almost like fake pieces of content. Like if I was to just come in and create commercials for Instagram all the time, like
you're talking about the video edits,
Yeah.
where it's music.
yeah,
This is the stuff that people are like addicted to. It's the
Yeah.
click. Everyone's clicking that stuff.
yeah, like the Instagram edits I would do and stuff like that. Like
Which
just-
were sweet.
Yeah, thank you. I love doing those. This is still one of my favorite things to do. And yeah, people like them, but like again, it doesn't really show much. You know what I mean? Like very cool to watch, very flashy, but like I felt like there needed to be more depth than that. And like I saw the podcast specifically was, I thought, an example for you guys to just kind of like subtly flex on like just how much you know. Like everyone, like people might not know that you're all level 3 seminar staff members, and people might not know that like the coaching here is like just mind boggling. You know what I mean? And like, and so this was an opportunity to talk about that. And then also just to create content that people in general in the community would just find interesting. You know, the people we interviewed, the stories we told were like, I think, appealing to a wider audience. So you get like the soccer mom who just happens to be watching the podcast about the police officer because she thinks that's a cool topic.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, CrossFit, what is this CrossFit thing? And kind of has that dovetail effect.
Absolutely.
The vlog was similar. The vlog was much more just for brand awareness. Like that was much more, I think, just for like something entertaining that people are going to want to watch.
Right.
That is still more raw than just those Instagram videos. That
Almost
can tell
like
a bigger story.
reality TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like just super brand awareness.
Yeah.
And like that, I think that thing turned into a beast of its own for sure. And there was a lot of positive feedback around that. Yeah. So I think those were kind of my 2 initial, like, I guess you could say like strategies starting it.
The vlog and the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I remember you talking about when you first came in about, you were talking a lot about generating as much content as possible on as many different platforms as possible.
Yeah.
And making each platform unique content. So would that be, if you're a gym looking to sort of beef up your social media, would that be something, the first place to start is like look at your platforms and establish yourself on every platform and try to have unique content on each one? Or should they focus on just one and try and make it really quality?
So, I mean, I guess it would depend on your situation. Like, I would say for 99% of gyms, definitely not the first. Definitely don't try to, like, get every piece of content individually, because you probably can't. Like, most gyms, well, not even that, but, like, most gyms listening to this are probably not gyms that have a full-time social media person. You know what I mean? Like, when I came in, like, yeah, I was coaching, but, like, that was 12 hours, and then there was the rest of the time to do the other stuff. So, like, I had the ability and the time to, like, sit down and put that much time and effort into it. But, like, most probably, like, affiliate owners and stuff like that don't have that kind of time. And so the idea of, like, starting that is a big, bold move. So, yeah, my advice would just be, like, pick one. You know what I mean? If you're putting one picture a week on Instagram and it's like some half-ass picture you snapped while a class was running of a blurry barbell overhead, like maybe just take a little bit more time and like create something a bit more valuable. Like maybe start like, instead of that, you know, something we kind of did and like admittedly didn't pursue too far, but like the Coach's Corner thing, like instead of posting that one picture, maybe just like stand in front of your iPhone camera, have someone record you talking about the one movement you guys are doing that day and give some tips and tricks.
Okay, but so let's say, let's just go back to the blurry barbell.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But so if they don't have time, how are they going to win the blurry barbell? Be like a good way. I mean, maybe not the blurry barbell, but how on one platform could you show both the rawness and the polished?
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
I would say
maybe the stories on Instagram.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, to be honest though, the time it takes to take the blurry barbell picture and the time it takes to stand in front of your iPhone for 60 seconds and explain how to deadlift properly, I don't think there's that much of a difference. Like however
That's
busy
true.
you are, you can probably do that. If you're trying to get both, the problem is the polished content, there's time after shooting it. You know what I mean? So like I'm giving advice to someone who like might not even have time to polish content or like think they have time. Like everyone has time. You just have to make it. But like if you're not wanting to stay up till 2 a.m. editing, like that's fine. But you might just have to like, you know, figure out a way to like get that raw content a bit more beefed up, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
So just finding a way to like add value in it. Like the blurry barbell is not really like what's that giving to people?
No,
you know what I mean?
I guess I didn't mean the blurry barbell, but I just mean it's because you were talking about how before we were talking about how it's the things that you brought to the table right away were two aspects of social media that would show the raw version of the gym.
Right.
So it's like if you only have time for one platform,
Yeah.
how do you highlight? That's a challenge, right? Is to highlight both the polished version, where you're editing some of the photos.
Sure.
Maybe you do a little edit, a little workout edit, and you do an advertisement with like a flash of, you know, colorful words across the screen.
Sure.
And then also you want to show the rawness as well, right? Maybe you do, I don't know, maybe now there's Instagram TV, right? So maybe you could IGTV. So maybe you can do like little mini podcasts.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram's I think probably one of the best platforms to get that out. Granted, if your target if you're a soccer mom gym, like if your main demographic is soccer moms and up, Facebook's probably a better bet. But if you're like us and you have a wide demographic, a lot of young people, a lot of older people, kind of a mix, Instagram's probably the best way to hit as many as possible. And like Instagram's cool because you can do that. So like you kind of touched that earlier, like the rawness, you could do stories. Like that's a great way to have kind of like raw innate content. The problem with like the stuff
I see raw content of PT all day. Inside the life of Paul Tremblay.
Yeah. Bacon bits and hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
And almond butter.
Exactly.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, it's tough to to be honest, it's kind of tough to draw a comparison because the stuff I was suggesting was long-form content, and long-form content is going to offer a lot more opportunity to have that.
What's long-form?
Long-form content just means it's long. Like long-form is anything longer than like what you would put on Instagram or Facebook. Granted, you can make long form content for Facebook specifically. Instagram, I don't know how well it plays. Like IGTV is still new, but long form content traditionally is like YouTube and podcasts. So like a 10-minute YouTube video or a half hour,
longer than the
podcast.
Minute video that you get on Instagram.
Exactly. So like that long form content allows for a lot more of that like rawness, I guess. So it's tough to explain how to do that in a 15-second Instagram story, but I would just, I don't know. I would just start making stuff. Like you'll figure out from the reactions of your members and people who are watching whether it's good or not, and then adjust from there. Like you know, like you might think you have the best idea ever, and like, oh, people are really gonna care about my 12-week ring muscle up progression that I'm gonna post every day. But like, if you realize that like people aren't really caring, there's not much feedback, nobody else is getting ring muscle ups, then like maybe switch it up. Maybe you want to like talk more about nutrition or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I would just say like, don't overthink it too much. Just start. If you're not making anything or you're doing just like the one picture, like just start making more things. It doesn't really matter what they are, and you'll see by the feedback and reception. That's a great thing about social media is it's a back and forth. Like there's interactions you can have and feedback you can get. So like if you're getting more likes on one thing than another, likes aren't the best metric, but like it might tell you that something's more appealing to the audience than the other. So just start making stuff would be the short answer.
And just pay attention to what happens.
Exactly.
And I guess if you start making something like this muscle up progression that you're talking about, and it's a flop, people are just like, they're either not going to know it existed, or they're just going to forget about it when you come up with the next great idea.
Exactly.
So
and like,
don't be afraid to try stuff and just keep going.
Yeah, don't let, that's the biggest thing, man, is like, and this isn't just to like gyms or whatever, but like content creation in general, like don't let your ego get in the way. Like there's a lot of time, like I love daily vlogging. I love that style of making videos. I love it. It's for me, it's like one of my favorite personal styles of making videos. But like I know that right now, especially like the ecosystem on YouTube is not super conducive to that. Like the content that's succeeding is not daily vlogs, and like it has to be more polished. There
Yeah.
has to be more transitions and titles and mographs and all that kind of stuff. And like, if you can't do that really in daily,
Mm-hmm.
at least not unless you're paying an editor, and that's a whole nother story. But like, so, you know, adjusting your content outside of just what you think is good is another big thing that you have to be willing to do. Like, you can't let your ego get in the way and think that like, you know what needs to be put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
listen to the feedback and the reception.
That kind of reminds me of my old blog that I used to write. Like, I used to just write. I really enjoy writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing, and I didn't expect people to, not too many people to read it.
Mm-hmm.
I hoped that a couple would.
Yeah.
And then, but I just continued to write.
Mm-hmm.
And some articles got traction, some articles didn't get traction.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you start to figure out what type of articles people like
Sure.
to read and which ones they don't. Then you just make a decision. Like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're passionate about a certain topic and you just want to get it out there,
Mm-hmm.
even though you know it's not going to be well received by the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, okay, it's time for something for people to really eat up.
Yeah.
Then you recognize what it is that they're enjoying, and you just, maybe
Yeah.
it's not something that you necessarily want to do, but you just bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah.
Just to like satisfy that audience.
Yeah, we call that the 2-for-1 rule. So like, the one thing I'll say before I explain that is like, you have to be aware of what you're doing. We kind of had this conversation the other day. If you're a gym trying to build a brand, if you're an individual person trying to build a brand, if your goal is to get a big following on social media for whatever reason, to convert to your gym, to convert so you can get teeth whitening ads, whatever you want, you attack it in a very different way than you do if your goal is just to have fun with it and post your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people will listen to this and be like, oh my goodness, like, I'm not going to do anything anyone else doesn't want, like only what I want. It's like, that's great if your goal is just to like have fun and use Instagram for like what a lot of people do.
Right.
But like, if your goal is to build a brand and have some sort of conversion potentially, 2-for-1. So 2-for-1 just means 2 for you, 1 for me. So like, you put out 2 pieces of content that you know your audience is going to love, and then you can sprinkle in 1 piece of content that
Right.
is more what you would like. And then 2 for them, and then 1 for you, and then 2 for them, and then 1 for you. So you're satiating that like desire while slowly building up an audience for things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because people, that's the thing, right? Is like, over time, people will start to care less about what you post because they'll just like you.
Yeah.
If you start posting, so like, for example, the only videos I ever made that got views back on my like personal YouTube channel days were, I had a electric skateboard, a boosted board, and I would make like review videos. So like, I would review like, I don't know, like how it was after 1,000 kilometers. I would review these new wheels I got for it, whatever. And those, like I told you, every single one of my videos got like 10 views. Those would get like 1,000 plus. So like, I didn't implement it.
Reviews are huge, eh?
Yeah, huge.
On YouTube.
I didn't implement that 2-for-1 strategy because I didn't care. Like I told you, my goal wasn't to like get views. I was just trying different things. But like, if I was to do it now, and let's say I was in the same place, like put out 2 boosted board videos and then 1 vlog, 2 boosted board videos, 1 vlog. Because what's going to happen is at first people are only going to watch the boosted board videos. People aren't going to give a crap about your vlogs, and you'll probably get comments being like, this stuff about your life sucks. Nobody cares about your life. Put more boosted board stuff on, because the internet's a mean place. But what will happen over time is like a little bit of your personality will be in each of those boosted board videos. And if your goal is to build a personal brand and you keep putting those out, people will start to attach to you and as a person and like who you are and what you're saying and the little nuances you have in your voice or whatever. And they'll start to watch videos you put out just because you're putting them out. Like, there's a lot of creators on YouTube where I'll watch their videos and I'm like, this video doesn't really look too interesting to me, but I'll watch it anyways because I know that I like that creator. They've done enough for me that I know that they're intriguing and I like their brand.
What can we review in this gym right now?
All the new Tidex equipment.
Oh yeah, that's true. We should put out an equipment review.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm mainly kidding.
No, it's actually, dude, it's not a horrible idea. There's a lot of gyms that are probably like on the fence. Should I buy a Salt bike or a Concept 2 bike? You know, you could do a pretty in-depth review and sell them pretty hard on buying a Concept 2 and not an Assault bike.
I bet you if we searched that on YouTube right now, we'd find 50 videos.
Sure, but like, why not be the 51st? There's a lot of people searching it.
I guess so. That's true. So what about the people that only your 2-for-1 rule?
Mm-hmm.
What about the people that only do stuff for the brand?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing for themselves? Are they at risk of like blowing up and getting bored, and then they like throw it all away?
Getting bored, sure, maybe,
Yeah.
absolutely. Burnout, probably bigger. Like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're trying to create content on a mass scale, you're there's definitely a higher risk for
So
that.
it's like if you're considering yourself an artist and you're trying to do this for a living and you're constantly doing brand boosting content, maybe take some time aside for yourself.
Absolutely.
To try to,
if you're an artist or someone who's trying to create a personal thing, yeah. On the flip side, if you're a business, you probably shouldn't be too upset if like Nancy from Sacramento doesn't like your personal vlogs.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Because your goal is not to build a personal brand. Your goal is to get more people into your gym, for example, or into your tile store or whatever. So like if you're creating content for a business conversion, then I would be less concerned about adding in the one and do more twos, because like for you, it's just about getting eyes on it, and like whatever people are going to watch, that's going to be true to you. Like you want to be true to your business, but like again, for you guys, if you're going to get more views doing reviews on the equipment that some gyms don't have that they might want to buy than doing the Coach's Corner videos, even though you love the Coach's Corner videos, it might be better to do that because it's going to build more brand awareness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But again, you have to make the decision, because like maybe you care more about brand awareness and like telling your personal story than you do about bringing in new members. And if that's the case, then power to you. Put out more content that is true to you. You just have to think about what you want to get out of it.
It's so crazy, like
care.
even that we're having this conversation right now. Like I just remember when social media just started becoming popular.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it was just so mindless.
Yeah, dude.
You didn't even think
there's like
about what you posted.
Yeah, my job did not exist.
Yeah,
5 years ago.
Like literally, it was just like, there's this cool bug on the ground. Like I'm just gonna take a picture of this bug and show my friends, right? And then now it's like you have to think about every little thing. Like this conversation is, it wouldn't have happened. We would have been talking gibberish.
Yeah.
How long has Instagram been around for?
I don't know. I think it came around when I was in like end of my high school. No, like early high school. So like grade 9. So I don't know, maybe. I don't even know how long ago I was in grade 9, like 7, 8 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, like not even 10 years ago, eh?
No, I don't think so.
Oh wow.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
10.
Maybe that's when it started getting
10.
big. I didn't really.
Do you know when Instagram started?
2011.
2011.
Yeah, grade 11.
Oh wow.
Barely. I didn't really start using it until like, I would say like seriously until like mid university, and then obviously whatever you use it for now.
It's crazy.
Is
Not
much
even. It
different,
hasn't even been out for a decade, and it's just caught like wildfire.
Yeah.
Not just Instagram, but all of it.
Yeah.
Late 2010. Wow, it's insane.
There you go.
So so all these things we just talked about, we tried to implement here, and we built up a little bit of a social media brand for ourselves, and then it was competition season. Competition season started, and it was like, okay, we got to get this stuff on film. Yeah. And PT did a few sanctioned events. Yeah. The first one was London. Wadapalooza. Yep. And you went there with them. Yep. And so was that your first competition that you went to film the athletes?
Yes.
And PT was on a team.
Yeah. Team forged by Zeus.
That's right.
Tim Paulson and Meg Reardon and someone else.
You were making some content for us, but were you also doing content for someone else too, or?
I don't remember. No, yes. So basically what I did, so when I first moved here, I was like searching for like other things, obviously, like kind of like it's like side hustles, I guess you could call it. Yeah. And that's when I kind of came across the social media thing. So at that time I had started in the September prior, I started like a social media business, I guess you could say. So I was doing like
Plug it right now. Sociability.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really?
No, I'm fully video now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, don't do any.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't do any more Instagram content.
Don't Google that.
Well, you can Google it. I don't think the website's even up anymore. But I transitioned the whole thing into just like my own personal media company.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I had a few clients, all local, that I was doing stuff for, but it was just like stuff that I'm not a fan of now. It was just like the Instagram posts and all that kind of stuff. So like. Yeah, so I was doing that, but nothing to do with CrossFit outside of here.
So you went to Miami, and did you get? You got to explain a little bit about why you were there.
Yeah,
because you got hired by someone else.
No, it was literally
just for us.
It was just for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So what had happened was like PT had like came up to me like a couple weeks before, I think, and was like, "Hey, like, would you want to like do a vlog in Miami, and I was like, absolutely. And then right before we left, Austin Malialo asked if I would want to go on, asked PT if I would want to go on the cruise after to do that.
That was after Miami.
That was right after Miami. So those were the two things I did right at the beginning of the year. Yeah.
Gotcha. So
But that wasn't like I was getting paid by anyone extra or anything like that. That was just like for here for the vlog.
Yes.
And then the Austin thing, I just got on the cruise for free. I didn't
got
get
on the
paid or anything.
cruise, started doing some freelance video work for Austin Malialo's vlog. And
Sorta. I didn't get paid or anything.
But you got on the cruise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got on the cruise.
Sure.
That's a good trade-off
It wasn't bad.
for your first gig.
Yeah.
And then it basically exploded from there. And then you go,
Cool.
and then after that, strength and depth.
Yeah.
And there, what did you do?
So the one thing that happened at Wadapalooza that was the catalyst for a bunch of this was I had DM'd Heber Cannon right before. So
Who's Heber Cannon?
Heber Cannon is one of the old directors of media for CrossFit. So he worked CrossFit HQ. If you've ever seen any of the documentaries on Netflix, he made them. Him and Marston Sawyers
He's
were
got long hair.
two of the main guys.
Really,
long hair,
really loud.
really loud. Well, now he's really loud. Yeah, at least on camera. Before he used to be quiet on camera because he was behind the camera. But they had just got fired from CrossFit,
And now they're called
the Buttery Bros.
the Buttery
Yeah.
Bros.
They just got fired from CrossFit and they just started a vlog. So I had DM'd Heber and Marston millions of times and they had never replied ever because they have big social media followings. They have like 70K each plus, and they had that at the time before. But it just so happened that right before Wadapalooza, I just sent him another random DM that was like, hey man, if you ever need any help, like let me know. And he hit me back and he was like, where are you located? I was like, Ottawa, but I'm coming to Miami for this thing. Like, da-da-da, if you need any help, let me know. And so I just ended up, like, volunteering to, like, in between events with these guys. Like, I ran over and shot a, 10-minute video of them working out for them. Did that twice in Miami and then did that again, strength and depth. But, again, just purely just, like, offering to help them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You just volunteer.
Yeah.
Show your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then after the cruise,
Mm-hmm.
did you kept in touch with those guys?
Yeah, kept in touch with them. We had a call right after the cruise, and they just, like, I was with Heber, and he was just like, hey, man, listen, like, we dig you. We like working with you. We like what you do. Here's where we're at. Like, they had just started the vlog. They had no sponsors. They weren't making any money or anything on it. It was right at the beginning. And they were like, this is where we're at, whatever. And I was like, well, I mean, I've admired you guys for years, and, like, this is like a junior league player getting to train with Wayne Gretzky. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. So I was like, yeah, like, whatever I can do, I'm happy to. So I was like, great. So then we were in London for strength and depth. I was shooting a daily-ish vlog again for here.
Yeah.
But again, same shit. I would go over and help them. I helped them, I think, just like with one shoot actually in strength and depth. Did the open announcement at like 2 a.m.
Right.
That was gnarly.
That was with Sam Briggs.
That was with Sam Briggs, yeah. So everyone else in the world was asleep, and there was like 20 of us filming an open announcement. And then from there was, I would say after London was where it really kind of like took a turn, because then I kind of started getting a little bit more opportunities outside of it, and it started to turn into work and not just like volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they basically call you up now, and they're like, we need someone to video.
Yeah. So they're
and you go.
the term that's tossed around is the buttery intern.
You're the buttery intern. I saw you on a couple of their vlogs.
Yeah.
The odd time they'll spin the camera around.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
You'll get a little flash and they'll ask you a question.
A little bit of recognition. Yeah. Exactly. No.
I saw it the last time I think I watched the last vlog.
Yeah.
And you what were you? Oh yeah, you went and got some acai bowls.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually.
I didn't get them. They made it look like I got them. I didn't. Heber ordered them. He ordered them, and they blame me for it. They're like, "You let the Canadian order?" I'm like, "I didn't." Anyway.
So basically, they turn the camera around when they want to blame you for something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. They want to easy
seems
out.
unfair.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I would describe myself now as like the media guy for the media guys. Like,
right.
Kind of what I've been doing recently. My biggest two projects have been producing on the road with Rory McKernan.
Mm-hmm.
So he hit me up after 19.5 in Miami. I was there with Heber and Marston and told me he wanted to produce a show. He was supposed to produce a show with IMG, which is a broadcast company that was going to partner with CrossFit for the games, but they pulled out after the whole CrossFit implosion. So he was like, hey, I still want to produce this show. Would you be interested? So, I went on the road literally with him, and I've been traveling with him. Heber and Marston around that time I had been starting to work for too. And yeah, so now those are definitely the two main things in the CrossFit space. And then, yeah, there's a lot of things in the pipe for sure.
Very cool.
With athletes and brands and stuff
What's
like that.
and on the road with Rory
Mhm.
McKernan, you're
Mhm.
just like, what's he doing on the vlog?
He's
what's
like
the
he's like a
point of the vlog?
personality. So like he's basically the talent, and I'm just like producing the whole thing. So I film and edit it. That one I am involved.
What's the vlog about though? Like he's going around to where? Like,
So it's all travel based. So every one we've
okay.
done so far has been at a sanctioned event. So we went to Shanghai, Iceland, and I didn't go to
Gotcha.
Shanghai. I didn't get a visa, but I went to Iceland with him and Paris recently. So we've produced 11 episodes so far from those 3 sanctionals. So yeah, the vlog itself won't necessarily always be on the road. On the road was actually just supposed to be the Shanghai and Iceland.
Gotcha.
But then we wanted to go. We had an opportunity to go to Paris. We got a bunch of sponsors that were on board, and so we were able to go. And so we extended that on the road thing. And I don't know if the vlog's going to turn into just the on the road or if it's out. But the original idea was just basically to put out content a little bit different than what's being put out in the CrossFit space, a bit more behind the scenes, a bit more
Cool.
interview based, and less like in your face hype. Basically like a juxtaposition of what I do with Buttery Bros.
Right.
Yeah.
So where do people go to watch that?
YouTube. So if you YouTube Rory McKernan, that'll pop up, and then the stuff I do with Edward Marston is Buttery Bros.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then the Buttery Bro stuff is that, like you said, it's the total opposite.
Total opposite.
Like these guys are crazy.
Crazy high energy workout montages. Usually it's like going either to a sanctioned event, or we've been doing a lot of home visits recently. So I just got back last night from being in Montreal with them. We were there shooting with
Montreal.
We went and stayed with Michelle Latondra.
Anyone
That
who
whole
doesn't live
frat
in
house.
anyone who doesn't live in Canada knows where Montreal is.
Yeah, that's true, eh? It's pretty popular.
You're
city.
like, you're from Canada. Oh, do you live in Montreal?
Yeah.
It's like, I know
It's
Montreal.
a cool city, man.
Yeah.
I never really been around it, but yeah, we went and stayed in the frat house of Michelle Latondra. It was like she right now has Laura Horvath, James Newberry, and Pat Vellner at her house, and then Samuel Cornier is like he lives on his own, but like he's part of that crew.
Yep.
So we went down.
A
I drove
rookie
down
games athlete.
Saturday, yeah, and filmed with them. And just got back. So we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff too, like more home visit style stuff right now. But yeah, it's much more like high energy, like montagey. It's very well produced, obviously, because Heber and Marston are the ultimate of what they do. They've been producing this content for a decade now. So
You know who loves those vlogs is Guillermo.
oh yeah,
Guillermo.
I mean his demo is like perfect for that.
Yeah, he's
So.
just young. Well, how old's Guillermo? 16?
Young
16 years
whippersnapper.
old. Yeah, he loves how much energy they put in. He's like,
Yeah.
every vlog, these guys go 120%.
Do you want me to spill some tea though?
What?
So it's really funny. I tell people this sometimes. Is like, everyone comes up to me. They're like, "Do they do drugs?" It's like, what do they do? Like, da, 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 da. Like they're so high energy all the time, which they are. But I always try to reaffirm the fact that no, they don't do drugs. They just are like shut off when the camera's off.
Yeah, they save their
s-
energy.
They're so smart. They're so high energy when the camera's on, and then like absolutely just like when the camera's off.
Like
It's a big
you literally
juxtaposition.
turn on a video and then they're just running.
Yeah,
They're running
sprinting,
and
yeah.
yelling and they're talking
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's
So
kind of like it's their trademark now.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
So you got to go to film them most recently. Well, the ones that haven't been out are the most recently. The ones that aren't launched, like Montreal, like you
Yeah.
just said. But the latest one that they actually posted
before that,
was in New England,
yeah, CompTrain Camp.
CrossFit Camp.
Yeah. So I went
That
down.
must have been really cool.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a cool one. Went down to Boston, and Ben Bergeron, head of CompTrain, puts on a camp every year. This one was games athletes or games qualified athletes exclusively, and like basically not including national champs because like that kind of gets out of hand. Like it was, there was some top qualifiers from the Open, and then there's
Mhm.
obviously like Katrin David Sutter and people like that. So yeah, we went down there. That one we were there for a long time. We were there from Thursday till Sunday, and we filmed them through an entire weekend training camp. And Heber and Marston actually participated in that one. So that was kind of the funny part is they actually they tried to keep up with them, which didn't work.
That was entertaining.
Yeah, that was really entertaining. It was a lot of hashtag skilled for life using the girls' weights and a lot of just subbing in and out of workouts. I mean, I can't blame them. I wouldn't have done anything different, but
Oh,
it was
Dude,
it was
it looked
hilarious.
gnarly.
Yeah.
They were working out all day for how many days?
4 days.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Thursday was a active recovery day, but it was like a 60-minute EMOM followed by a pool session.
My God.
And then it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday of like intense training.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What was it like filming those athletes? Like a little closer in person. I mean, you know, you've done it before around here, but maybe, I mean, Katrin David's daughter's
right. Yeah, I mean,
2-time CrossFit Games champion.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's cool for sure. Like, the coolest thing I find is just observing them in their natural habitat. Like watching these people
like
do these
animals.
Yeah, do these things over and over again that are just beyond my understanding of human capability. That's the coolest part. As far as the people part, like I guess all the time, like I don't know, you guys probably can definitely associate with this, is like people are people. Like as soon as you meet someone, they get humanized really quick. So like the cool factor around being around all these games athletes is like pretty much disappeared, to be honest. Like I don't want to sound like
but you're also there to
appreciate
you're also there to do your job, which
exactly.
is fun, right?
I think
so you're not focused. You're focused on like the work.
Like if I went in there from like oh my goodness, it's
like
Tia Claire Toomey.
Yeah. You're
like,
not there to be a fan.
I wouldn't get very good content from her because she'd be like, get this guy away from me. You know what I mean? So maybe it's like a mindset thing, but like hanging out with them is really just cool because it's just observing what they can do. Yeah. As far as people, I mean, a lot of them are just great people, but like, yeah, it's
that's
not really
sweet.
anything more than that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So
I got 2 more minutes and then I gotta go.
2 more minutes.
Yeah, I gotta get read to work.
So what's next on the plate for Nate?
Well, I mean, the games
besides the Heber and Marson and the Rory stuff.
That.
Besides that, what's next? Are you gonna go to the games?
Maybe. So I'm talking with a couple different people, Heber and Marson, Rory being 2 of them, but a couple other people about some stuff at the games.
Can't you just apply if they don't invite you?
Oh, I've already.
You can just apply and like
totally, but like I'm not paying for it. Like you know what I mean?
True,
Like if
yeah.
I just like I don't know what I would use the content for. So like no, I'm definitely not going unless it's like a job.
Right.
Granted, I'm sure that's gonna be an option. But there's actually like some other stuff, pretty cool, a little bit outside of CrossFit.
Cool.
That I can tell you about, but I'm not gonna talk about on here.
Fine.
But yeah, like I love what I do in CrossFit, and I definitely want to keep going with it. But like you know, it's a relatively small market, right? It's relative, especially at like the level where you can make a living from earning it. Like there's probably 3 or 4 people making content that could afford to have that. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's gonna grow?
I hope so.
Or do you think think
so.
the people doing it now are gonna monopolize that market?
No.
I mean, there's got to be people that want to break through and are just as creative as these other people.
Yeah, you just have to find something unique. Like if people try to be the next Heber and Marston, then they'll never break through because Heber and Marston are the best Heber and Marston. You know, like if you come in and try to do what Craig Ritchie does, you try to do what Morning Chalk Up does. Like you got to find your own thing. You got to find something unique that people want to see, and that's how you can break through, especially in something as niche as CrossFit.
Do you like the direction that it's kind of taken?
The games?
Just with the whole media side.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't be doing what I was doing if it didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was
more opportunity.
Yeah, like more opportunity, but also just like it was, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I didn't mess up this podcast too much.
No, I think you did great, man.
I'll get that's 1 down.
Yeah.
We'll get some practice on some other ones. So if the audio is all messed up and
No, I think it's perfect. You killed it.
if I fuck up the editing, then
I'll help you in post.
I'll get Nate to help me
Yeah.
out. Yeah, until it's all done. All right. Until next time.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, dude.